most interview questions are useless.
Tell me about yourself. What can you tell us?
But these 5 will cut through the fluff and help you understand, is this the right candidate? Hey, my name is Arjun. I'm the CEO and founder of doola.com, a business in a box for e-commerce. Doola is a venture-backed startup based here in New York that's raised over $13 million of venture capital from some of the world's best investors, including Y Combinator, Nexus Venture Partners, HubSpot Ventures, and notable angels like Cody Sanchez, Graham Stephan, Sahil Bloom, Dharmesh Shah, and more. And by the end of this video, I promise you, I'm going to share the 5 questions I think are the single best questions to actually understand, do you have the right candidate for your business? And the way I'll do this is I'll first share the thing we do before the final round interview, before asking these questions, which I think is critical. Then I'll just walk through and share the 5 questions with you. So let's dive in. The very first thing, which I think is critical before you even get to this interview, is sharing your company's values and non-values. And the way I describe this to the team is you have a mission or a vision or goal. For Doola, it's we want to help 1 billion founders start and scale their dream e-commerce business. From start to scale, we'll review every step of the way. And notice, our goal or mission is not to become a unicorn or have $1 billion valuation. It's to reach and add value for 1 billion founders, to help them start and scale. And if we can reach 1 billion people and add value, the valuation will follow. So again, the goal isn't monetary. It's about impact, value, leaving a dent in the universe, and actually having this huge impact. Now, if that's the goal or where we want to head to, kind of like the top of the mountain, I think of values as the operating system to define how you get there. When I heard this line from one of our investors, which I love, the first 40 people determine the next 400, or the first 10 determine the next 100, or the first 1,000 determine the next 10,000. The point is, who you have at the company determines what the future of the company will look like. So the values and the people who reflect those values are the operating system for how you make decisions as a team and how you scale. It's how you get to the top of the mountain, because the truth is you can set this vision, but as a team, you're deciding how to hike up that mountain. So what we do before any final round interview is share our values and non-values. So most companies have values and they list those out. We have 6, but we also share non-values, which are explicit things we write out, which are examples of what you should not expect at Doola. Now, we do this very candidly because we want people to know what they're expecting when they join a startup, which can be very different than a larger company. I'll give one example. Larger companies might be way more structured. Startups, you let chaos reign, and then you reign in the chaos. You have to thrive in chaos. You have to like chaos. You have to like the unstructured. Some people don't, and that's completely okay. So we share that up front because we want to make sure there's a hell yeah fit on both sides. So that's the first thing we share. Now, let me jump into the 5 questions. The very first question, why Doola, or why insert your company? Now, I like this question because the person should have done some research or understand why they want to work at the company. And this also just gets out some really good insight into what motivates this person, what they're looking for in their next role, because they either could be in a current role, and I always want to see, hey, are they running away from something or running towards something? And it helps understand motivations if they've done research and have a reason for why they want to work at your company. So that's the first question, why Doola? The second question I ask is, why you? And I also preface this with, please do not be modest at all. Why do you think you're a fantastic fit for the role? Now, I like this because, look, people can be humble, and in an interview, you should be bragging about yourself. So I like to completely remove any pretense here and say, do not be modest. Why do you think you're a fantastic fit for the role? And this is where I want to see someone just say, hey, I've done X, Y, Z. I've done this before. I'm a fantastic fit because I think I can take you from A to B, and do not be modest at all. So this shows me someone's experience and why they think they can come in and have an impact from day 0, because that's the goal. The third question, tell me about a time you made a mistake. What happened? How did you solve it? And then how do you prevent it from happening in the future? Now, this does a couple things. 1, everybody makes mistakes. So if someone can't think of a time they've made a mistake, I think they're lying, or they're not moving fast enough or being ambitious enough, which at a startup isn't going to work. So tell me about a time. But then the more important thing is, how did you solve it? Did you take ownership for the mistake? Did you blame someone else? Or do you have extreme ownership? And then systems are greater than goals. What did you do to prevent this from happening in the future versus just wishing it wouldn't happen? So you learn a lot from that question. You can see if they take ownership, you can see if they deflect it, if they point the blame on someone else, and how they minimize things from happening in the future. So that's the third question. The fourth question is, tell me about the time you worked the hardest you've ever worked in your life. And it could be in anything. It doesn't have to be work. And here's why I love this question. This question usually brings out someone's inner passion or fire. Because the truth is, and I say this, at the end of the day, you're not going to work hard unless there's a huge why. Right? At the end of the day, a big enough why can overcome any how. So this question I love because you hear stories about people's childhood or middle school or in a job, and what I'm actually looking for here is like you can see the fire in someone's eye because look, at a startup, it's David versus Goliath. You're competing against companies with way more people, way more money. It does require hard work. Obviously, you need hard work with strategy, but hearing people work hard, which is what you need at a startup, and seeing that passion is really important for a startup. So I like hearing those stories. And again, it doesn't even have to be from work, but understanding what makes someone tick, why did they work hard, and can they bring that into the company? Because I truly believe a rising tide lifts all boats. When you're surrounded by other ambitious, hardworking people, it makes you level up too. And then the last question I ask is, as part of this process, we do a debrief, and let's assume we do the debrief and we come back and say, hey, we thought there was a good fit, but not a great fit. Why do you think that might be the case? Now, this question I like because it gives the candidate a chance to actually reflect and say, hey, these are some reasons why it might not be a great fit. And if the candidate thinks there's a perfect fit, they can say that too. But the reason why I like this is, look, it actually, I think, is impossible to have a 10 out of 10 fit because the only way you could have a 10 out of 10 fit is if you know the company's full inner workings, product suite. I actually tell people, I don't expect you to know about LLC formation, bookkeeping, taxes, sales tax. Truth is, I knew none of that when we started Doola. What I'm looking for, and what I think is more important, is the slope, how quickly you can learn. If you can do that, anyone can learn this content, although we do have CPAs on our team and we want people with experience. So at the end of the day, I like this question because it gives you a chance to address openly, here might be the gaps, but it gives the candidate a chance to say, hey, this could be a gap, but here's why I'm confident I can do it. Or they might say there are no gaps, I'm supremely confident there's a great fit. Then if that's the case, the only gap is actually learning the inner workings of the company. But it gives a chance to have that open conversation. That's a wrap. In summary, again, the 5 questions are, why Doola, or why your company? Why you? Tell me about a time you made a mistake. When's the hardest you've ever worked in your life? And if we don't proceed here, good, not great fit, why do you think that'd be the case? Thank you so much for watching the video, and we'll be releasing more content just like this, where I'll be giving you an unfiltered, behind-the-scenes look of what my life is like building and scaling Doola here in New York City, including the challenges the team faces on a daily basis, how we acquire customers, how we've raised funding, my favorite growth hacks, my morning routine, and more. So please like and subscribe to the channel. We'll be putting out content on the regular. And speaking of entrepreneurs, if you yourself are a founder looking to either start a new business or scale an existing business, Doola is your business in a box solution. We've helped over 10,000 entrepreneurs from over 175 countries focus on what they do best, so Doola can handle the rest, the unsexy yet critical back office required for any business. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video.